that metal interview.
Cast the Stone, Philip H. Anselmo and the Illegals, SCOUR, former member with Cattle Decapitation, and I am speaking of a talent, a tremendous talent, guitarist, bassist for all these bands I just mentioned, currently with SCOUR, and of course Philip H. Anselmo and the Illegals. I'm speaking of Derek Engemann. This guy plays bass with the Illegals, but plays guitar and does most of the songwriting for SCOUR. And all these bands I'm mentioning, SCOUR and the Illegals are fronted by the legendary PANTERA frontman, Mr. Philip H. Anselmo, of course. And so we interview Mr. Derek Engemann. Hope I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. I'll refer to him as Derek. Derek does most of the songwriting for SCOUR. And SCOUR has, now, they have a brand new EP. And they call it the Black EP. And it's a great, great EP. I can't say album because it's not an album. So you guys should check out the latest EP on behalf of SCOUR and from Derek's pen, should I say, and riffing. So they have a total of 3 EPs. The first one being the Gray EP. Then came the Red EP in 17. And then this year in 2020, the Black EP from SCOUR was dropped and unveiled for the metalheads like me and you guys. So anyways, check it out, man. The Black EP from SCOUR. And check out the Illegals. With the Illegals, as I said, the Illegals, Derek plays bass with the Illegals. And Derek plays guitars with SCOUR. And so let's check out the interview with Derek. Enjoy. First of all, congrats on the SCOUR Black EP, man. Can you talk to us about that?
Oh, thanks, man. We are pretty stoked on it. Definitely feel like it's the strongest effort to date. And it's kind of a special one because we're closing out the EP trilogy, which is a dream come true. So
yeah, I saw that, the color thing, yeah.
Yeah, all the response that I've seen has been pretty good. You know, not too many haters out there right now, so it's always great to see.
Right. There's some awesome material, man. How would you categorize this EP, the genre? You think it's black metal, or what would you say it is?
Well, we never actually claimed to be black metal. We're not going to be wearing corpse paint or anything like that, but you know, obviously there's a huge black metal influence, but I would just call it like buzzsaw blasting blasphemy or something. I don't know, but we you know, it definitely has some elements of some grindcore and some black metal and a little bit of death metal in there. It's just, I would just call it just extreme music, really.
Basically, this is your baby, this is your invention, right? Or do other members pitch in ideas, or?
It definitely is my baby. I do all the writing for the music, minus some help we have for the instrumental tracks. But yeah, it definitely is my baby, which is awesome reward to see it out there in the world. Phil, of course, handles all the lyric writing and the patterns and all the vocals, pretty much. We do, all the SCOUR boys, all the guys in the band, we do backing vocals on each song. But Phil usually will leave like spaces for us to kind of determine where to put those. He never really tells us where to put the vocals, but it's kind of evident when he sends over, you know, his first rough draft, if you will.
So the Gray EP, Red EP, Black EP now, whose idea was this? Is there a theme behind this? You just said it's a trilogy, but why those colors?
Well, the whole thing is kind of a like the EPs and the album covers and stuff, they all kind of like tie into like the SCOUR mantra, where minimalism is like our top priority, if you will.
Okay.
It's done intentionally, very focused. Mm-hmm. As you can tell, like the music is just straight to the point.
Yeah.
No added frills. So when we were like coming up with the album concepts, we like, well, for the first one, for the with the Gray EP, we were like, we should just throw up the fucking logo and just bam, that's SCOUR for you. Because it was kind of almost like a demo in itself, our first taste of the world. So, but it just happened to work with the music so well. And then we weren't quite sure when we started with the Gray where we were going to go next. But then we had another batch of songs, and we were like, well, let's just do another EP of 6 songs. And then we were kind of like joking around, some artwork ideas, and we were like, you know what, fuck it, let's just stick to the plan. And this one was a little more brutal, evil. We're like, well, we got to step it up from Gray to Red.
Yeah.
And John Jarvis and I had this idea. We were like, well, if we're going to do 2 EPs, we got to definitely do 3 EPs at 666 songs. And Black being the most brutal of all. So
I think so.
That's kind of where it came from.
Well, it's some badass stuff, badass material, in my opinion. As a metalhead, congrats on that, man. Awesome.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
Oh, yeah. How did you make the change from Cattle Decapitation to SCOUR? For the people that don't know, what happened there?
Well, that was kind of it just kind of happened. I had written the first couple of SCOUR songs. The very first 2 songs written were Dispatch and Codes, actually, on the Gray EP.
Yeah.
And I had these full songs written, and they didn't really fit with the Cattle vibe completely, as you can probably hear it. But even though there are like a lot of SCOUR riffage ideas in the Cattle albums I'm on, like Prophets of Lost, the way it starts out is, that could have been a SCOUR riff,
Yeah.
If you're familiar with the track. Actually, Phil Anselmo does a guest vocal on that song, for those who are not familiar.
I saw that, yeah.
So that is very SCOUR-esque.
Right.
But transition was, I had these songs that didn't really work for that, but I wanted to use them because I thought they were cool, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I was on tour with Cattle, and John Jarvis was actually tour managing us at the time, and
oh, wow.
he wanted to start a band as well. So just on like a set of principles, really more than anything. And I was like, well, I got these songs here, and he loved them. And then we brought everybody on board. And it was a weird transition because I play guitar in SCOUR, and I'm kind of known for my bass playing. So
yeah.
I had to build a whole new rig and switch to the guitar world. So it kind of gave me a different avenue. And then when things got a little more serious, I just felt like it was a time for a change in my life anyway. So kind of parted way with the Cattle guys, and then just led more to focus on SCOUR and other projects I had, and then eventually joined up with Phil and the Illegals as well, back on bass. So that's been a treat.
So how is that different? Are you you just said you're enjoying the guitar part. Is it different? How do you see it different as far as yourself? Do you enjoy it more than playing bass, or?
I love them equally in different ways. I would say live performance, I feel more comfortable on bass just because I've been grinding it out 15, 20 years, in the live setting on that end. But when it comes, I don't know, when writing the material, I just feel like I owe it to myself to play it on guitar, play it the way it was written. So nothing beats hitting that distortion, at Hellfest and just cranking out these huge chords.
Right.
That is such an awesome feeling. But at the same time, bass, I feel more comfortable, and slamming out some Pantera bass lines in front of these massive crowds is a fucking pure joy for myself.
I saw that you guys did with the Illegals. You did a Pantera a bunch of times. How did that?
We did, yes.
How did that feel doing the Rex Brown parts and playing Dimebag and the Pantera thing? How did that feel with Phil, of course?
Pretty surreal. And I remember playing we played at Madison Square Garden, sold out show opening for Slayer, and
wow.
I just remember a couple moments when the lights all dim dark purple and we're playing This Love, a sold out Madison Square Garden playing my favorite songs. It was pretty unreal. I sometimes have to look over, I just stop and look at Phil, watch him, but can't slouch on that Rex bass either. That's no joke. But
right.
I think the Illegals, it can be a little more enjoyment because it's the bass. I'm a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
But when SCOUR does the, we've done a couple of Pantera tributes as well, and I definitely got to be on my game playing the guitar. Even if I'm not doing the leads, I gotta, represent for my man Dime up there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So it's a little more pressure, I'd say, on the guitar end.
Oh yeah, rhythm or lead. Dimebag was he was a little notch up there, I guess you can say. Yeah.
Oh, shit, he's the king.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
and it's kind of weird. Sometimes you kind of feel his presence or something. You know, looking down.
Wow.
It's kind of weird. So it's hard to describe, but you know, I just play as hard as I can. You know, just try to nail as best I can.
I'm a musician. I play guitar, bass. Local bands here in Texas, and I would have frozen up there if I was up there with Phil and playing Dimebag stuff.
Oh man,
Damn. I don't know how you do
you know,
that.
you gotta just go for it, pretty much.
I appreciate cattle decapitation music, of course, as a lot of metalheads do, and SCOUR, of course, illegals. Did you get any hate from fans when you left cattle decapitation?
A little.
Really?
Yeah, like from the fans and stuff. I would say I saw a lot of people were bummed and they messaged me saying like, "What do you know? You know, can't believe it." Some of my friends actually messaged me like, "Were like, what the hell are you doing?" You know, you know, and I was just like, "Hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is." But I haven't seen too much haters really. Just some people being bummed, you know, which is cool to see. I mean, it's not cool to see people bummed, but it's nice to know that they respected the works that I did, and I'm still proud of the bass lines and even the songs that I wrote for Cattle, and the bass tone, especially on Anthropocene Extinction, I think is one of my best bass tones I've ever captured. So,
Yeah.
you know, can't help but be stoked on that.
I saw cattle decapitation live. I don't think you were there. This is back in I want to say '06. They were
Okay, that was
opening.
before, yeah.
Yeah. I think you joined about 2010 or so.
Right, yeah, just like end of 2009, 2010, yeah, and that's when I joined up. And I
Yeah.
actually moved to San Diego September 15th, 2010.
Yeah, the band was great. Like always, badass. They were opening for D-Side in San Antonio.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Homies. I got to meet Glenn Benton last year when SCOUR played Maryland Death Fest, and the dude is the man. He's so cool.
Yeah.
And then you watch him live, and he's just like the most brutal, evil motherfucker.
Right?
It was funny. The Illegals were playing in Hellfest last year, and I was just in the little dressing room, and all of a sudden I hear this, "Hey, big guy." I was like, "What?" And I turn around, and it was Glenn Benton, like stick poking his head in my room, and I was like, "What the? What's up, Glenn?" But that's pretty wild.
That's so cool, man. These guys are. Well, we're off the subject. I'm sorry, man. Talking about D-Side now.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
They're. I'm good friends with their guitar player, Chris Canella.
Oh, yeah?
He used to be my ESP rep, actually,
Oh,
for
really?
ESP guitars. And so cool, because he's always been an evil bastard himself. And it's cool to see him. It's like the perfect gig and the perfect union, and I fucking love it. And we've done a couple shows together already, so cool stuff, man.
Yeah, Chris sounds like a cool guy. We interviewed him about a couple of months ago. Yeah, he's a real cool
Man.
real cool guy. Yeah,
Yeah, he'll talk your ear off as well, man.
right.
Great dude.
Going back to Phil Anselmo, the first time you met him, were you nervous or how did you feel? Starstruck or were you pretty cool?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I met him at the Housecore Horror Film Fest a few years back.
Oh, wow.
The last one they did, actually. Cattle played there. We were the first band to be announced, actually, for the fest. That was cool.
Oh.
But I showed up, and my buddy Zach from Strong Intention was there, and he was, I think he was managing I Hate God. He was just with them.
Okay.
I was like, "Oh, what's up, Big O?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm out there hanging out with Blue and Jimmy, and Big Phil's out there." I was like, "Oh, well, I think we should go say what's up." And I walk out there and said what's up to Blue. I've known him for a while, and Phil looked up to me and he was just like, "Cattle decapitation." I was like, "Oh shit!" And he gave me like the bro hug, and then he was super cool. Talked to him for a bit that day, and I'll never forget. He walked by with this empty fancy water bottle, I call it. But he walked right up to me, got like an inch away from my face, and was like, "You ever been hit in the head with a Perrier bottle?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Is Phil gonna like hit me in the head with this bottle?" And then I couldn't help but just started laughing, and then he like walked away chuckling, and that was my first interactions with the big guy. You know? It's fucking hilarious.
Oh wow, man, that's a story right there.
Yeah, man. But we've had a lot of good times since, and the next thing we did was actually he did that guest vocal on the Cattle record. So
That's right.
that's
Yeah.
kind of where we built our rapport right there.
Yeah. Talk to us about your other bands. We know we have other bands such as Cast of Stone and such. Which ones are active, and what's going on there with your other bands?
Yeah, man. Cast of Stone was like my first metal band I was ever in back in like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
And it started out as a three-piece with Mark Kleppel, who's now in SCOUR, and Misery Index, and then Jesse Schobel, who played drums on the Grey EP. So these are my homies I've known forever. And 2 years back, we released a EP with Agonia Records, and I was really stoked on the way the bass sounded on that as well. It was mixed and mastered by my hero Dan Swano, if you're familiar, from a million bands: Edge of Sanity, Bloodbath, Outlaw Masquerade, Infested.
That's right. Yeah.
So we actually did an Infested cover on the EP, and he mixed and mastered it. So it was just like totally, it was like, everything aligned for that one. But we are working on some new stuff. We're supposed to get together this all year long, but because of fucking COVID, it's kind of hindered. So it's moving a little slower than I'd hoped, but we do have some new stuff that's in the works, and it's really cool stuff. It's a little more, what's the right word? A little more accessible than SCOUR, I guess, maybe. But, yeah, I love those guys, and I would keep an eye out for that. I guess something else, you talk about other bands. I kind of have a joke band. Well, it's not really a joke, but a fun band, if you will.
The fun thing,
called the Booze Hounds.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's a revolving door. Same dudes as well. Jesse plays drums in that, and John Jarvis is on the bass now. And it's more of a fun drinking punk band. But we did an insane cover this summer. We did 99 bottles of beer, and we got 99 guest vocalists to do a verse.
Oh, wow.
And it was all for charity, supporting the Old Dog Haven, which takes care of like senior dogs.
Okay.
And
nice.
too, I mean, like everybody in the scene was on this. Phil was on it, Mrs. Anselmo, Kate, Housecore was even on it.
Oh, wow.
Bunch of the Housecore dudes, Child Bites and King Parrot. But I mean, people came out of the woodwork, like my heroes, like John Gallagher from Dying Fetus, singer of Dark Funeral,
Wow.
all these dudes from Hatebreed and Mastodon and Fear Factory, Testament, Exodus, Gary Holt, Slayer did a verse. I mean, it was just, I could go on for, to list off 99 people.
Wow.
It was insane. So check it out. 99 bottles. If anybody, I mean, they're still taking donations for the Old Dog Haven. If anybody's into it, it's a brutal listen, but it's a good time for sure.
So where can we find that, fans? Spotify or?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music. It's on the YouTube, Bandcamp. Bandcamp's good because we can get the donations straight sent over. There was a GoFundMe. I think it's still open. I don't think you ever really have to close a GoFundMe. You just kind of just pay out. But yeah, people are into it. It's a great cause, and it was a fun time for sure.
Awesome. We'll check that out, definitely. What's next for yourself and the bands, your projects? What can fans expect next from SCOUR and so on?
SCOUR has definitely got something really cool in the works for in the next couple months. So keep an eye out for that. We should be announcing something shortly, something really special. But moving forward, music-wise, we're signed up for a full-length album, so that's in the works. And I've already got some new stuff brewing on that, and I think the music's going to expand more. As you can kind of see if you listen to all three EPs, it kind of is progressing a little bit, but it's going to definitely be SCOUR and stick to the plan, stick to the principles. But it's in the works already. Awesome news for fans. Awesome. Would you like to send a message to your fans listening to the podcast? Yeah, man. While you're sitting at home locked down because of these governor's rules. Just throw in some SCOUR thrash outs. If you want to pick up the new EP, you can get it in the U.S., North America at Housecore, the Housecore store. Anywhere internationally through Nuclear Blast. And if you want a nice t-shirt, pipe, or grinder or something, head over to nightshiftmerch.com. And we're going to have some new goodies dropping there soon as well.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you for making time. We appreciate your time, and keep up the good work, man, and keep it metal.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
And we thank you guys for supporting our podcast on all digital platforms, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and so forth and so on. Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and so on and so forth again. And so we thank Derek for his time and speaking to our podcast and speaking to me, James. Thank you for your time, brother, and we wish you the best. Keep rocking. And as far as the public, you guys are supporters. Don't forget to support SCOUR, support Cast the Stone, support the Illegals of Philip H. Anselmo along with Derek. You guys can download, stream, or purchase. Go to their websites, seek them, search these people, search these bands. Awesome bands. Try to purchase merchandise, as it will help all these bands that are not working during these hard times of the pandemic in 2020. So anyways, support these bands. As far as our podcast, thank you for supporting our podcast on YouTube, our videos on there. Subscribe, ring the bell, you know the drill. As far as the other formats, platforms, thank you for downloading, streaming, and purchasing stuff. So thank you for your support 100%. On behalf of myself, James, and my staff here at That Metal Interview Podcast. And don't forget to keep it metal.
That Metal Interview.